Hi, everybody. My name is Shaq McCray. I have been a realtor with Keller Williams for the last 10 years. I've been an agent on a team. I now own a team. And I'm excited to be here. I'm excited to connect and just like hear about, what would add the most value to you guys today. Um, I am a National Association of Realtors 30 under 30. I'm just trying to think like, what can I throw out there that's like
No,
fun
and
to.
that you just start right there. Start right there because that's an accomplishment that very few people have. And that accolade, what did that look like? Did you receive a call and I see the publications around that, right? The spread in the Realtor magazine is so impressive, and they always detail your accomplishments. Um, when did you start in the business? How old were you?
I started at 22. I think I was officially licensed, 22 years
Yeah.
old.
22. And your first year, what did that look like? And where did the business come from when you're 22? Because most of us at 22, right? I think I was at 22, I was still a junior in college, right? What did that look like for you? And again, where did the business come from? Did it come from traditional methods, or were you out there just pounding it, man, calling, knocking doors, doing things? Where did it come from?
Yeah, so at 22 years old, I was still working my full-time job. I got into a really good like union pension job when I was 18 years old. And I worked there for 7 years before I fully jumped into real estate. And so I think it was about 3 years into that job. I was going to school full time. I was pledging a fraternity. And I just had this crazy idea. I was like, okay, I'm going to start a real estate club. And I co-founded that with somebody that was in my management 301 class. And through that club, because the person that I co-founded it with, his parents were the OP and the broker of the brokerage that I'm at. We had just like connections to the brokerage. So we would get speakers to come from the brokerage, people that were high producers. We had his parents come out, just like talk about like what it's like to be in the industry, what it's like to get your license and all those kinds of things. And so from there, it really spiraled into something that like I didn't expect. I was in college to get my degree to move up at my job, and I got my real estate license over a winter break, and it just started to move really fast from there. So my first couple of deals, I know you asked, it came from sourcing deals for investors. So I would get on the MLS. It was much easier at this time to just like hop on the MLS, like run numbers and like find deals for investors. And so I got my first two deals, I believe, within my first month. And then the second two right after that. And I was like, okay, as long as I send out 50 offers, I'm going to be able to get one deal under contract. And it wasn't paying me a whole lot, right? Because these were properties that, they were flipping, they were lower price points, but I was still like just like getting the experience of getting rolling. And then from there, my whole mindset like kind of shifted to okay, like this last year in school, instead of like working so hard, I'm gonna just connect with a lot of people. And so that's why I decided to like pledge to fraternity. We grew the real estate club to be the biggest in Towson's history. And I just made a lot of connections. And so when I graduated, I was the person that people looked at as, hey, this is the guy you call when you want to buy real estate.
Love that. What frat are you in?
I'm in Delta Sigma Phi.
Okay.
Yeah,
You don't always hear those, right? We hear the alphas and the kappas, and so, and I'm sure it's one that served you well. I was never in a fraternity, so I think I had a brotherhood of the football team, so that was my frat. So,
yeah, we
and
were the oldest on campus.
get out.
So that was really important to me. I got to connect with brothers that were 30 years older than me that had already been successful in business in the area. And they've been tremendous for me.
See, Shaq, that tells me really, I already knew, but that tells me more about you. I mean, you put yourself in close proximity to those that were already achieving big things, right? And we say it all the time, right? I mean, eagles soar with eagles, and you made sure that you were in rooms at the time you probably didn't even deserve to be in,
Yeah.
And as a young kid, right, you might have suffered from imposter syndrome. You're like, what in the world am I even doing here? But it's like, oh no, no, you belong there, right? Because you were leveling up and you were growing and even inspiring. And so that's why I was so excited about having you on today, because I think when I saw you a year or so ago, you know, even at Gary's mastermind, there weren't many people who looked like you and I in the room, right? And I was like, well, I don't even know that guy. Who is that? Right. And that's just who I am. I'm always curious, you know, about connection, and it served my business significantly. So, and clearly it's done that for you. So thanks for sharing that, because I've never understood the journey of a 30 at 30, right? And I know I think I've had probably 10 people on who all you know, had that honor. And so here we go. So where are you at? Tell folks where do you, what areas do you service?
Yeah, so my market center is in Crofton, Fort Meade, Maryland. My team services about 5 or 6 different counties in Maryland, and I would say we can get from one side of the area of Maryland we service to the other side within 4 hours. I have 9 people on my team that are here every day. They're full time, and some of those people are licensed in other states. So the team also services DC, Virginia, and Pennsylvania.
Okay, so about 9 people. About how many units did you do, or you expected to do in 24?
This year, we're a little bit under. We should be at about 140 units this year. Typically, we run around 180.
Okay. That's again, that's crazy impressive, because there aren't many on the call that are doing those numbers, even if they're on a group. So I think my buddy Brian Fitzpatrick, he and his team, those are probably numbers that they're charging for. Brian, are you gonna hit numbers like that, or we're leveling up to get there? So
Unfortunately not.
okay. All right. But again, that's the goal. Let's get there. And you've got so much talent on your team. I think you will. So, Shaq, I appreciate you sharing that, because again, I think that, you know, as we look at young folks, and again, you're still very young, and I know there's at least 4 people on this call that are close to your age, and you show that it can be done. Because I think when we see it, we can be it, right? So I appreciate you joining on. So let's jump into, and again, it's a nice transition into your age, right? And I know you're very involved with the next gen. What does that look like? And tell us, what is that all about?
Yeah, so KW Next Gen is one of 2 Keller Williams national nonprofits, and this one focuses on empowering the next generation with the tools and the systems that they need to remove limiting beliefs and live a big life. And Quantum Leap is what I look at as like the core material that Next Gen offers. And I've been a part of the Quantum Leap community like right from the beginning, right from 22 years old. John Newman, he was my mentor. He is my mentor. When he came to speak at our Towson Real Estate Club, this is the kind of like material that he brought. And I don't know what it was about that at that moment, but it's like everybody in that room felt a different kind of way when he left than we did just like hearing about, the listings and this and like the tactical pieces of real estate. And I knew that there was something there. I knew that there was energy. And so we had John come out the next year and be a speaker twice. And then I eventually ended up joining John's team. And I would say that, my life has been built inside of the framework of what Quantum Leap offers. Just, the mindsets, the 6 personal perspectives. I view it as the roadmap on how to be a successful person. And so naturally, when I found a level of success, I just felt like, it's a community that I needed to get back to. And so I'm an active instructor. I was down at the QL Summit a couple of months ago. I just got back from Missouri. I flew straight from Mega Camp to Missouri to give the QL material to a football program, Francis Howe Central. And I'm going to continue to teach that because it's something that has become a part of my mission.
And it's I mean, we talk here all the time about quantum leap because it's not really even about real estate. Wouldn't you agree with that?
Not at all.
Yeah, right. And I think that's the reason why football programs, businesses, have brought folks in like you to share and discuss it because it's almost all encompassing. And so I think I've taken Quantum Leap, I believe twice. I believe it. I'm sure I need to take it again. So if you find yourself coming to Texas, or maybe I'll just fly and take it the next time you're doing it up there. Because I love to travel, and I really haven't spent much time, in the whole DMV area. I was there for Christmas, so would love to come back. So, how is that? And do you use with your NLP training and I'd say hypnotherapy? Is that all similar? Do you use that in your Quantum Leap program, and that's something completely separate?
Yeah, so the NLP material, I believe, is like another layer to like what you get with Quantum Leap. And I don't really involve myself in anything that is like not connected to what my personal mission is. And so anytime that I get involved with like an organization or I'm looking to get education is to help me be better at something. And so NLP, while I'm teaching Quantum Leap, while I'm coaching my agents one-on-one, while I'm teaching in group settings, it's something that gets weaved in there.
And so I heard involvement because from your college days to your early work, in real estate involvement, I've heard it now twice. And I think that it's so important, regardless of whether you're very mature in this business, like myself and Steve, that if you're not staying relevant, staying involved, then I think you're going the other way. And the other way is, and I know you've heard this because we're always on top of what's happening in the industry. Last year, and I think the numbers will bear out the same this year, 49% of agents in the US sold 0 to 1 home. 49. Let's give it that extra percent. So 50% of the agents only sold 1 or 0 homes. And clearly that's not us, right? And I think that when you're involved, and it sounds like you're constantly evolving and contributing to I'd say groups, but there's so many things that you do to keep you significant, to keep you involved. Um, is there have you spread outside of your KW world, um, your frat world? Is there anything else that you're involved in of any significance?
Not right now.
No, time is
Not right
limited, I know, but yeah,
That
yeah.
stuff keeps me pretty busy. I'm also the team leader of the market center that I'm a part of, and so it's it's busy. Yeah.
I can't even imagine. I mean, running 9 people, and I know occasionally you have even more than that in your responsibilities as a team leader. I've been approached a number of times about that position, and it's nothing that I want at all. So kudos to you for
Yeah,
handling it.
it's a really good opportunity. I think that the things that help you build your real estate business are the same things that you learn as a team leader, right? But you just learn them on a larger scale. So instead of like having a team of 9, I have a team of 3 to 400, and so it's just different. Your systems have to be better. You have to be better in the conversations, and so it's been busy, it's been tough, and it's been something that's stretching me, I think, in the best ways.
Well, stretch. I think stretch is I think it's a 2024 version of growth.
Yeah.
And so again, we all need to stretch ourselves. I think for the remainder of this year, especially with the changes that we've had, stretching is necessary in order for us to continue to grow. And I know that again, you see Steve Markell there and Brian Fitzpatrick because their offices are almost next to mine. We chat about it all the time. We have to continue to grow and get comfortable being uncomfortable. And we're not scared. We're not scared at all. And I know you're no. So let's chat. Let's chat about, man, with so many responsibilities. Um, where does where does team flagship? Isn't that the name of your team, right? Where does
Oh,
where is that the market?
that's the market center. Yeah, Think is the name of our real estate team.
Okay, okay. Where are you guys finding business currently? Well, I'd say where is your North Star? What's your velvet rope, right? Is there something you know, specifically you hone in, or you've got 10 different, pillars that the business is flowing in from?
Okay, so as far as the team, I'll start with me. My personal mission is to empower seekers to become the best version of themselves through coaching and leadership. And so that's where I try to stay when it pertains to Think, our real estate team. And what that looks like is meeting with the leaders inside of our team that I'm developing, and showing them what they need to know in order to be able to reach their goals as a leader in the company and as a human being on this planet. And so I spend a lot of time in like recruiting conversations and consulting conversations, coaching and consulting Jen and Vince, who are my top two leaders. And now they're in a place where they're looking to bring in 4 people and add to their teams. We started to expand out to different market centers. We're distinguished as an expansion team. And so we haven't gone far. We've just gone to market centers that are around here, which provides them an opportunity to have a team which is inside of our team. And so we're looking at growing that, and that's kind of like my responsibility in it. Vince does a lot of like the tactical, the sales things for us nowadays. He's training people on the listing appointments. And we're getting those listing appointments through our work with absentee owners. So people that own properties, but they don't live in them. Some of those people meant to be landlords. Some of those people didn't mean to be landlords. And so our communication with them, with our 36 touch plans, and when we're touching them is adding value around those things. How can we help you there?
And you said your 36 touch program. Do you use Command or Brevity, or what do you use?
We're in Command. Yeah, we're in Command 100%. And then we have these different like things that like come off of Command. So for example, we use PropStream to pull data. And we kind of like prospect out of PropStream and then only move people into Command once we have like a two-way relationship with them. So we don't I guess like necessarily like use it by the book. But we use Command to manage the people that we're in relationship with. Some of the other things that we got involved with recently, we have Fellow. I don't know if you guys heard of that. Ryan Young has like a seller lead generation program. They do communication to our sellers every 15 days. And then they have creative ways that you can segment the database to be able to have conversations that add value. So we can look at people that have been in the database for, or that have been in their homes for over 2 years, that have above a certain interest rate, and have a certain amount of equity in their house, for example. And we can segment our 20,000 person database and see, okay, this is the list of people that we want to contact with this specific message. And so that I think is a good wrap up for the absentee owner campaign. In addition to that, we're big sphere of influence people. About 70% of our business comes from our sphere of influence, and we execute that through client parties and just quarterly touch plans and all those the normal basic things to stay in touch with your database.
Well, I love that. I think, I see so many mega agents on the call here, and I think we're also similar in that we do many of these things. I think consistency is the key for sure, and it's interesting because Christina, let's check out PropStream, because I'm always looking for something to help either connection or expanding our database. And did you say that you have 20,000 in your database?
20,000 in our database. That includes Mets and haven't Mets.
Yes. Okay. And so is some of that farm? Do you guys farm at all?
We farm some, but we farm through our agents. So Vince, for example, he has a specific area of town called Locust Point. And so there's a couple hundred houses in Locust Point. They're all very close together. He's a Catholic. He goes to church in Locust Point. And so we farm more through the agents than we do, I guess, one big team farm.
Got it. Got it. Well, what does the remainder of this year and or next year, what are your expectations, or what do you see happening in the marketplace, and or what do you think is needed in the marketplace in order to succeed and not be one of the 50% of the agents, in the nation who sells 0 to 1 home? What do you think?
Yeah, my expectation of just like the market and what I think is going to happen, I'm never really super tied to, because every time that I think something's going to happen, something different happens. I hope that interest rates continue to go down, some as we start to balance out the economy. And then as far as to not just sell one home, I think it just takes the effort. I tell people, when I'm interviewing for my team that, we know like these things that we're going to have you do over the next 90 days works. And so like, if you just like put in the effort, you're going to start to see some of those results. And I think that there's so many examples of that, especially in our Keller Williams family, of just different programs that you can plug into to be successful.
Were you, I know you were there, and so isn't it crazy that our founder and CEO is the fashionista in the marketplace? Because when Gary puts a damn t-shirt on, it sells out, right? It's crazy. And so his t-shirt said, do the work.
Do
right?
the work.
Do the work, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think there must be, Shaq, there must be something happening, because Gary said, do the work, but you can't even find a damn t-shirt now.
Yeah.
And political stuff aside, Michelle Obama said, do something. And I thought that that's interesting to me, that they're both on the same wavelength. And I think that as not just Americans, I think as people now, it simply means get up, get involved, do something, do the work, and let's stop complaining about the things we don't have from the work we're not willing to put in.
Absolutely.
Wouldn't you agree with that?
Yeah, I agree with that. And I think it's a conversation about energy, right? Like you got to be putting energy in to expect anything to come out of that. And I think I'll just like loop this back around on like KW Next Gen. Like for me, like having like a mission and having like a North Star and saying, okay, like, am I living my life? Are my goals in alignment with that? To me, it gives you additional energy. It gives you something to pull through on those days where like, making the phone calls and like booking the next appointment is not enough, right? It's like that as a goal, sometimes it's like not enough to get us into action. And I think that having a bigger purpose can help pull you through some of those smaller things.
Not enough. I agree. I agree. Setting that next appointment, hopefully that next closing, we find that, yeah, it's not enough. It doesn't fulfill us the way you think that it would, or it does for some folks, because again, I think we're at a different level. And so finding, and sometimes I hate the conversation about your big why. I personally believe that it changes all the time. And the simple response to that typically is always your family. And I don't think that that's always your big why. I personally believe that, at different stages of your life, that moves, the needle moves. So finding something that moves you, I think, is what's important. And your pursuit. And I mean, you had said something earlier about leaders that I couldn't write down quick enough, but I think it encapsulates who Shaq, McCray is. And so I appreciate you sharing it, even though I couldn't write it down. And I will ask you, your parents, did the name come from Shaq himself, or it was the African version of it? Do you know?
It did come from Shaq. My middle name is Jordan, so
okay.
they had hopes. I'm not a hoop star, but hopefully I did okay.
Were you an athlete at all?
I did. I played, high school basketball, high school football. And then when I went off to college, I was like, I'm gonna take this job because I'm not a pro, right?
I know. I think that it's crazy. I would say, Shaq, that probably 80% of the folks who've been on this call are athletes. And I think you know, it prepared us differently to know that we've got to prepare and we've got to practice in order to win. Not necessarily winning on Saturdays or Sundays, but win in business, win in life, right? And so there's some structure and discipline there. So bro, I appreciate the time. Like I told you, 30 minutes goes just like that, right?
It
And
does.
I'm so mindful of everybody and their time because again, we're all top pros and we've got things to do. So is there one parting message that you'd like to leave us with?
Appreciate you for your time. I appreciate you for having me on here. If you guys want to connect with me, I'm on Facebook. I'm on Instagram at, just my full name, Shaquille McCray. And if there's ever anything I can do to help you, if there's ever a group that I can come bring next gen to, please connect with me and let me know.